everybody, and welcome back to Backstage Pass, the CPCA advising podcast. I am peer advisor Maggie here again. I'm solo this week once more, but I'm very stoked to be talking to another Temple alum and peer advisor alum, continuing in our series of talking to folks who have graduated and where they are now. So we're so excited to have Shannon Foley with us today, live on Zoom. Shannon, hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Maggie. It's so good to be back. Second time back on the podcast.
Honestly, it's truly an honor. We're so glad to be chatting with you today. So let's get right into it. We're going to ask a bunch of Temple-related questions and college in Philadelphia questions today. So, as we've already stated, you are a recent Temple grad. So what made you choose Temple in the first place?
So I chose Temple because, like, you know when you are like on the college tour, and I kind of felt like that like movie feeling. It's so I would always say this at orientations too. I felt like the vibe, like this is the place for me. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. The environment's very cool. Opportunities in the city, and it's for Boyer, and I'm assuming TFMA too. You kind of get like the best of both worlds with like a huge university and like a smaller college. Mm-hmm. With, so I just loved that part of it, and I was right when I chose Temple. That was like a huge benefit.
Right. And you were a music ed major, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. So do you have any fond memories of your time as a music ed major? Any fond memories about being a music student in general? Maybe not even specifically about music ed, but
yeah, so many. Lots of like concerts and choir was probably like all my favorite memories, and like I keep seeing on like my friends' like Instagram stories or whatever, like them playing instruments and like teaching instrumental music. Like, you guys know who you are, who you're in that class right now. When I see your stories, I get like transported back to like Klein Hall, like playing a clarinet. Like, all that stuff is just like a lot of fun.
Awesome. What would you tell somebody today who is thinking about applying to Temple to be a music teacher?
That is a really, really good question. Make friends outside of your bubble. Like, ed can become like a really insulated bubble, which is great because everyone knows each other and everyone's supportive. But you gotta make friends outside that bubble just to like kind of keep yourself sane, and at the same time like do stuff outside of music. I would definitely say that that's important.
Yeah, that's a really solid piece of advice, and it's also relatable for, I feel like, any arts major. Because as a theater person, it is so fun to do other things sometimes.
Yeah, and like you're gonna be spending so much time with your busy major. I mean, all of these are like a lot of work, and you're really diving into your craft, whatever you do. Mm-hmm. So do it, like having that balance is very important.
Definitely. Yeah, and I know that this isn't like necessarily a huge jump away from music, but I remember you were very, very involved in the a cappella scene at Temple. So do you want to talk a little bit about that and like how you got into it and how it impacted your time in undergrad?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in Synchronize, which is the women-centered a cappella group at Temple. I was in it since like my first semester freshman year, and I know I'm saying like, oh, do stuff outside of music or whatever, and meanwhile my outside of music thing was also music. But it was an awesome experience. I was also the music director during my last 5 semesters of being in the group and like through COVID. Yeah, Synchronize means everything to me. It was like the defining experience of my time at Temple. And I would definitely suggest doing a cappella to any of the young folks. It's another really great source of community. And there's like 7 groups, so you can find like exactly what you excuse me, exactly like what you would fit in and like your niche, I guess.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Zooming out a little bit and getting a little broader, what would you say your favorite part of going to school in Philadelphia was?
Oh, so, there's just so much. Well, I feel like I can't describe it, but just like becoming cultured.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in the suburbs in upstate New York, and a lot of people who go to Temple grew up in many various suburbs, and going to school in the city is like really important. I feel like was very important like for my development as a young adult, and probably other people as well. Just like it helped with like my independence, using SEPTA, like stuff like that. It's just
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely, because I'm from the middle of the woods. So I knew I wanted to come to school in a city just because I hadn't experienced that kind of life, and there are so many more cultural opportunities here.
Yeah.
And as an arts person, it's definitely important to like take all of it in. So
Exactly. And it just made me not want to leave the city too. Like, I don't know if this is a little bit off topic, but this past weekend I saw Into the Woods at the Kimmel Center. Oh my God. First of all, it was so good. It was amazing. But like, I wouldn't really be able to do that if I wasn't here, stuff
Right.
like
Yeah. No, definitely. Philly is a huge hub of music and theater and dance and film. There's a lot going on all the time in all of these industries. So great place to be if you also want to do that. Pivoting back a little bit more to Temple specific stuff is that you were a former peer advisor. You are one of us. So we were wondering if you could talk a little bit about like what you did, a favorite peer advising memory, and generally how that impacted your time in undergrad as well.
Yeah, so as a peer advisor, I did all of the same stuff that, everyone else does. We work in the front office, we do the orientations, we answer any random miscellaneous questions that advisors aren't able to answer. I also worked on the social media with Maggie, so that was a ton of fun. That actually might have been my favorite part, because I also worked on Boyer's social media before I was a peer advisor.
Oh yeah.
I had like a little bit of social media experience, and I was like, yes, I know how to use Canva. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. But also like the orientations, I think, were my favorite, because we got to see all the new little students and be like, oh, you love Temple. Let me answer like any question at all. It's so fun.
Definitely. No, yeah. So being a social media peer is so fun because you can literally just like roll up and be like, I'd like to make this TikTok. Cool. And Leanna will be like, yes.
Yeah, your TikToks, Maggie. I was actually gonna text you the other day, but I forgot. I was like, your TikToks are off the chains.
So much. Thank you so much. We're really doing a lot to advance the brand over here right now.
On point.
Thank you. Everybody go follow CPCA_advising on TikTok. Shameless plug.
You have to follow.
Here. We've already, time flies because we have come to our last question before we get to this or that. I kind of touched on this earlier a little bit, but like if there was one piece of advice or one tip that you would share with an incoming Temple music student, what would it be? Like, what is your bottom line? Like, above all else, know this.
Okay, I got this. This is my big advice. You don't have to do what you think.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do what you think that you have to do. You don't have to have a traditional path. You can be different. You don't have to, if you're a music education major, for example, you don't have to become a classroom music teacher in the Philadelphia Public School District. You really don't have to do anything. It's your life. You are paying Temple to give you a really good education. So use all of those resources that they are giving you and just make the most of your college experience while you're there. And it's your own individual journey. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's journey. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Definitely. That is great advice. And it's so true across the board. In college, no matter what your major is, whether it's arts or not the arts, you are the master of your own ship. Nobody can tell you what to do. And if you need help figuring out what to do, there's help available. Definitely lean on people.
Yeah, it's really important to me, that piece of advice. I graduated in 4.5 years. You graduated also longer too, Maggie, right?
Yeah, it was 4.5 years too.
Yeah, so it's okay to take an untraditional path, and your advisor will help you. Shout out to Brad. You're awesome.
Shout out to Brad. Yes. Got a great team in the office. So yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. That was really insightful, and it's always just great to talk. So lovely. But we've come to our final minute or so of the podcast, which returning viewers will know it's the most intense part. It's this or that. So I've got my minute on the timer ready to go, and I've got 19. We've bumped it down to 19 because nobody has completed this or that yet, as far as I'm aware. Ben might have. I haven't watched the Ben episode yet. So no pressure, because nobody's finished it. So if you don't, it's okay.
Okay.
We're vibing. But these are all Philly, Temple, and music related questions.
Okay.
So make sure the sound is up and ready.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go. Sight reading, piano, or voice?
Voice.
Zaxby's or Richie's?
Richie's.
Beery Beach or the lawn outside Tyler and Boyer?
Beery Beach.
Choir or band?
Choir.
Broad Street line or Market Frankfurt line?
Broad Street line.
Cherry or white?
Cherry.
Teaching middle school or teaching high school?
Middle school.
Hooter or Stella?
Hooter.
Love. City Hall or the Rocky Steps?
Rocky Steps.
The Bell Tower or Founders Garden?
Founders Garden.
Christmas concert or spring concert?
Christmas concert.
A cappella or accompanied choir?
A cappella. Come on.
Yeah. Fall semester or spring semester?
Spring semester.
Water or wooder?
Wooder.
The Schuylkill or the Delaware?
Google.
Soft pretzel or water ice?
Water ice.
Water ice. You got really close. We had 2 left.
Right before I said water ice.
Yeah. F. But
I was like,
no, you were really, I was like, oh, this might happen today. This might be a semester first for the pod, but we'll get them next time. Once again, Shannon, thank you so much for chatting with us today. If you are not already following us on social media, why not? Head into our bio. You can find links to follow us on our Instagram and our TikTok. And come back next week and keep up to date with some CPCA guests. Yeah, have a great one, everybody. See ya.
everyone.